Alright, let's talk about Gala Alex and whether you should summon or not. So, Gala Alex was just revealed in the video yesterday, the digest video, and she's here, and there's a lot of new changes with the digest video that I'm gonna sort of break down in a different video, but in today I just want to talk about Gala Alex and whether you should summon for her or not. She releases tonight at reset, and it's going to actually last until, wait, no, not tonight, whoops. Comes out 26th. Okay, it comes out tomorrow at reset. Actually, not tonight at reset. That's weird. Not gonna lie, I thought it was tonight at reset, but it's tomorrow at reset. Comes out tomorrow at reset. Lasts until the 1st of April, and I believe after this banner is done, we should be getting the what is it? Syndicate banner, the events, the raid events, which they showed off in the digest, and those units. So again, if you want to pull for any of those syndicate units, you probably want to save your War Mite for that. But again, this is a Gala Dragalia, or I guess Gala Dragalia is apparently how it's pronounced. This is a Gala Dragalia, so if you want to get any of the Gala units, you're going to have to summon on this banner. But also something to note is that there is a Platinum Showcase. So if you do want a certain unit, you could just summon on the Platinum Showcase. But again, that is only using Diamantium, not War Mite. And yeah, I just want to get this out of the way. Again, Gala banner is always a great place to spend your War Mite. You're always going to get the best bang for your buck off your War Mite off of a Gala banner. So again, another great place if you want Eldwater, etc. Another thing to note is that Fire Emblem Heroes is getting a rerun, so if you want any of those units, you're going to want to summon there. Also, they announced that Fire Emblem Heroes will be getting a Part 2 collab, so if you want any of the potential new units that will be on the new collab, you're going to want to save your War Mite for that. So with all those in mind, even if Gala Alex is the new best unit in the game, is she going to be worth summoning for? I would personally say no. No, she is not worth 74 because of not only the collab, but the future collabs to come, the future limited banners to come, etc. Gala Alex will always be on the Gala banners, and potentially, a dream summon they might want to do for Gala units, or maybe any Platinum Showcase in the future that they might want to do. She's always going to be on those. So I would personally recommend you don't summon. Save your potential luck to get her for the future. Because again, Shadow is such a strong element. You can already beat all content in the game with the current Shadow units. You probably already have Gala Gleo, and that's again another reason for you not to summon for her. But again, with those things out of the way, I do think Gala Alex is going to be amazing. Let's actually discuss the rest of her kit right now. So Gala Alex, whatever happens, I will keep Elisande safe. She's a Shadow Sword, and Shadow Sword is actually the only the only weapon type in Shadow that actually needed a good adventure. So with only other Shadow Swords we had are like what, Yaten, Berserker, and there's a Rodrigo, I guess, but Audric. And Audric was kind of used for his ability, but honestly, there's no Shadow Sword that's really used. So Gala Alex is going to be here, and she's probably going to be the best one out of all of them. If she's not, that's going to be super sad. She's definitely going to be the best one out of all of them. And just how good is she going to be? Well, she's an attacking unit. Also, I want to just make a comment about her design. I think her design looks great, but again, she looks very similar to her OG design. And I don't know if that's just me. She looks extremely similar to her OG design. Like, there's very, very few things I think that actually changed, at least from what I can tell off the top of my head. Whereas, other units, like just Gala, off the top of my head, changed so much. Obviously, that was symbolic, but he changed so much. Gala Ranzel had a pretty big change, I believe. Gala Ellie had a pretty big change. Whereas Gala Alex kind of looks similar to her OG design. So again, kind of something I'm a little bit disappointed about, but she does look great. Her art, beautiful. Love it. She's an attacking unit, which means she's probably going to be focused on DPS. Unless your name is Victor. I believe Victor's an attacking unit, but he has like all these weird support things. Anyways, with the new outfit, Alex has become Elisande's personal guard. The white hood represents her leaving the assassin's life, and she wears a vow upon her blade to safeguard her friend and never lose heart, no matter what. So I believe she actually has a white hood instead of a dark colored hood, which is I don't know for sure. I'm just guesstimating, which is pretty interesting. It's a nice symbolic change for Alex, because if you don't know, chapter 12, she kind of changed her whole person. I mean, she did change it before in a different chapter, but chapter 12 was really symbolic for Alex. So Gala Alex is here, and let's actually discuss her Yu-Gi-Oh text styled kit. So I'm going to kind of break it down from what I see and what this seems to be, and kind of how this looks to work. Basically, right, the main gimmick to her is it's not skill shift, it's skill chain. So she can chain her skills together off of a sort of a reservoir of her skills, which is, I'll talk about that in a minute, but I actually want to talk about her abilities first, just because everything is going to be so crazy with the skills, and that's going to be a long time. So her abilities: reduce defense Punisher plus 30%, poison Punisher plus 30%, and then Guardian Shadow 2 reduces susceptibility to blind and para by 100%. So kind of like Gleo, you know, both resistances in 2 or in 1, which is nice. And then again, 60% Punisher off of these two, which you're always going to want to keep active, because again, that's just a straight up 60% extra modifier on your damage. Because again, this is, I believe, multiplicative on the Punishers. I believe that's what it is. Next up, co-ability is standard, but her chain co-ability is Shadow Poison equals user strength plus 13%. Now, this is actually really good. I don't know if other adventures have this off the top of my head. If anyone in the chat can let me know. But this is actually a really good one if you're inflicting poison. If you're not inflicting poison, it's obviously not going to be super useful. But if you are inflicting poison as like a Delphi or an Alfaria, I just burped, or even a Gala Alex, if you are inflicting poison, this is literally just going to be a free strength buff, which you can probably get every single time this renews, which is again going to be very powerful if you can do that. Again, unless you're running a bunch of strength buff on your team, then you're going to have diminishing returns. But if you don't, which, you know, most Cayenne rooms or High Jupiter rooms don't really run too many buffers. I guess High Jupiter, you run a bunch of Galacleos, so not really High Jupiter, but Cayenne, you don't really run multiple Galacleos. You kind of just run like one. So this is going to be very useful in something like Cayenne. Again, I do think it's a really solid co-ability. If anything, just throw her on your team for that if you're a Delphi or something. And next up, let's actually discuss her skills. So down here underneath her, underneath everything, they kind of discuss how Gala Alex's skill chain works. And I've already read this. I discussed it with everyone in the chat. Shout out to Straylace for actually helping me out and understanding everything. But let's actually discuss what skill chain is and how they affect these skills. So her first skill, Crisis Edge, deals shadow damage to the target and reduces their defense by 5% for 15 seconds. This defense reduction will not stack. Now, even though it does not stack, it should renew itself. So if you do decide to skill one again before the 15 seconds are done, it should renew itself. But again, I don't think you really need to do that. Again, also something to notice is that she does have defense reduced Punisher. But again, if you run her on the same team as Galacleo can reduce defense herself. So that is something to note. Defense effect will not stack. After using this skill for a set period of time, it will be possible to trigger a skill chain. Using Crisis Edge during this window will make it deal shadow damage to the enemies directly ahead and deal bonus damage afterwards. And in both cases, damage is increased against foes with reduced defense. So you could have insane increased damage just off of this skill 1 because of the reduced defense. Next up, again, skill chain activates, and it says, furthermore, if the target meets one of the following conditions when using Umbral Erasure, which is her skill 2 name, you know, down here, Umbral Erasure, this will also result in a skill chain, altering the effect of Crisis Edge if it is used during the skill chain window. In this case, it will deal shadow damage to the target along with the following bonus effects depending on which condition is met. Now, these conditions are the exact same for her skill 1 and her skill 2, so I'm only going to read them once. First, if the target has a buff, the skill would dispel one buff from them and deal bonus damage afterwards. This bonus damage will be increased if the foe's defense is reduced. Or 2, if the target is in break state, the skill will deal bonus or deal extra damage to them. It will also deal bonus damage afterwards. This bonus damage will also be increased by the enemy being in break state. If an enemy meets both of the above conditions, condition 1 will be prioritized. So dispelling is prioritized over break state. Now again, these conditions are also on her skill 2, so I'm not going to discuss those again. Basically, it's if you use her skill 1, then you get one of these extra things. So her skill 2, though, deals shadow damage to the target and inflicts poison. Again, inflicting poison stacks onto her poisoned Punisher, which is off of her her ability, you know, Poison Punisher ability. But again, Delphi inflicts poison and shadow, and so does Nefaria, and there's probably others, but those are the two main ones. So those two can also inflict poison. So if you're running, say, a Delphi on the team, actually, I'll discuss that in a minute, actually. Let me just finish talking about the skill. Deals poison or deals shadow damage and inflicts poison. After using the skill for a set period of time, it will possibly trigger a skill chain. Using Umbral Erasure during this window will make it deal shadow damage to the target and deal bonus damage afterwards. And in both cases, damage is increased against poisoned foes. So there's a lot to unpack with these skills. And basically what you want to do, so they kind of have a like an example. So this is obviously just gameplay footage that they showed from the digest. They have an example of a skill chain here, which really helps you understand how it works. The main thing I kind of want to get like across with this skill shift is you only get either the defense reduction or the poison. You don't get them both. So you can't skill 1 for the defense reduction and then skill 2 for the poison, because if you skill 1 first, that means your skill 2 will no longer poison. It shows over here. If you so let's say you use your skill 1 first, that's going to reduce defense. But then your second part in your skill chain that you use is the so Christ's Edge is the first skill, so not that. Let's say it's Unbelievable Rager, the one that poisons. However, you're not going to poison. It says you only do shadow damage and 1 buff effect ends, and then you deal bonus damage. And then again, poison foes take extra bonus damage. You don't actually inflict poison, so you can only inflict either defense reduction or poison. So your team composition is really going to depend on the way you want to play Alex. Basically, if you're running with a Delphi, you're probably going to want to skill 1 for the defense reduction, because again, Delphi has a really good poison uptime, whereas defense reduction is not super great uptime compared to poison. So you're probably going to want to skill 1 and then skill 2 for the Punisher. Again, it really depends on which Punisher has the most DPS. Maybe the skill 1 Punisher has a higher mod, but I'm assuming the skill 2 Punisher is going to have a higher mod. So if you're running with a Delphi, you're probably going to want to skill 1 and then skill 2 and skill 2 again for the extra poison damage. And again, if there's any buffs, erase those. But if you're running with someone like a Gala Gleo, which has, I feel like, better uptime on defense reduction, you're probably going to want to skill 2 for the poison and then skill 2 and skill 2 again. So just, completely spam your skill 2 if you're running with a Gala Gleo. So it really depends on your team composition, and again, you can only get one of the bonus effects. They do have an example if you're using Unbelievable Rager, which is again the one that poisons. So they have examples which you can read here, but I kind of just summed it up for you. Basically, the first skill you do will have the poison or the defense reduction. Anything afterwards is just kind of for the bonus damage. Again, we don't know what the mods are. We don't really know what the optimal skill chain is, etc. This is all just kind of speculation, but what I'm assuming, skill 1, skill 2, or skill 2, skill 2, skill 2. That's kind of what I think. Something else to note is if you want to alternate between your skills, I guess you could like skill 2, skill 1, skill 2. We're really going to have to see where the bonus damage comes from and what's going to be, better. Also depends if there's a buff on the enemy or if they're in break, etc. There's a lot of things to depend on, and we don't really know the optimal way to use her because, again, she's not out yet. I cannot say anything for sure. We don't even know what the modifiers are. So, and again, there's something called Skill Reservoir, which I didn't even talk about yet. They actually mentioned Skill Reservoir at the very top of this right here, Skill Reservoir. Basically, it fills as you hit enemies, and we don't know how long it takes to charge the Skill Reservoir, and that's going to be a very big important part to our kit because, again, you're basically charging 3 skills before you even use it once. So if this is a really long charge time, that's going to kind of suck, and it's going to really hurt her usability because, again, you're going to basically charge 3 skills before you can even use your skills at all. Because, again, you're going to want to save up at least 3 of them so that you can skill chain off of them. So, again, if this is a long charge cost to charge all 3 of them, that's going to really hurt her usability. But, as you can see from this, her mods actually look really strong. I believe Gala Gleo was also in a video for the digest, and she was only doing like 3k damage. Whereas Gala Alex right here, as you see, like 6,000 damage. And then I believe there's another skill where she did like 14,000 damage. So, yeah. Gala Alex will probably be absolutely insane when it comes to burst damage. Because, again, you literally fire off 3 skills back to back to back. And also, they all have bonus increase damage right there on break, on, if anyone's buffed, etc. She also dispels, which means that you kind of don't even need Nefaria or OG Gleo. Because, again, those 2 dispelled for Cayenne. Not even like you need Dispel to win, but if you were looking for a Dispeller, Gala Alex can also fit that role. So she just does so much that she brings to the table. Whereas, other units do them, but they kind of split into different units to do them, if that makes sense. Like Nefaria does poison, she does dispel, but Gala Alex does those both. And she probably has a better poison uptime. She has the, the co-abilities, the chain co-abilities, etc. So we're just going to have to see. If she has great mods, she will be absolutely insane. Again, ridiculous burst damage, like absolutely ridiculous, especially if you're running like a Shinobi. Absolutely ridiculous burst damage I can see coming off. If you can get off multiple skill chains in the course of a match, let's say in like a 2-minute Cayenne battle, right? If you can get off your skill chain at least, I don't know, let's say like 6 times or something in like a 2-minute fight. Same with like Mercurial Gauntlet, like a 2-minute fight. If you could get your skill chain off 6 times, that would be really strong, I feel like. Again, 6 times I feel like might be a little generous. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Because how many seconds would that take to charge it 6 times? Like 20 seconds? 20 seconds to fully charge it up, which means that you can, kind of renew your defense reduction if you're doing that. Or for poison, you can pretty much renew that as well. So we'll have to see, again, once she's actually released. But do I think she's worth summoning for? I would still stand by my original statement saying no, you should not summon. But if you're a newer player, I think if you're a newer player, it is worth summoning. Because again, you're probably going to be missing a lot of Gala units. You're probably missing a lot of units in general anyways. You might not have a good shadow team. If you're missing both Gala Gleo and Gala Alex, I would say it's worth it to summon for at least one of them. Because they're both, very, very strong by the looks of things. I would summon for at least Gala Gleo or Gala Alex and then stop after that. But again, if you really value the Fire Emblem units, the collab units, you're definitely going to want to save as much Wyrmite as possible. Because that's potentially 6 units that you're going to have to pull for on a summon showcase. So potentially 6 units out there that you want to go for. You might want to save for that instead. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Again, highly recommend saving your Wyrmite unless you're a newer player. That's kind of my final judgment. Again, let me know what you guys think. This huge Yu-Gi-Oh text that we're getting recently, oh lord. I hope they don't make things even longer. But again, skill chain, it's nice to see something new in Dragalia. That's kind of the main thing. Nice to see something new, especially with the chain abilities, etc. Nice to see these changes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. And until next time, have a nice trip.